Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Underground Gospel Show. This is Night, and I'm coming to you live from the beautiful state of Tennessee. And I got to tell you, it is a gorgeous, gorgeous night out here. I'm out here on the patio again. Um, and this is going to be a kind of a special show. This is I found out a couple of weeks ago that a good friend of mine had passed away. She had moved to Florida at the beginning of last year, and her name was Connie Bradley. I met her in an elevator in ASCAP, which is the American Society of Composers and Publishers. I've been a member of ASCAP, gosh, since the early '80s, I guess. And I met her here in Nashville when I first came to town. And I think I was going up to a writer's room or maybe to change information and addresses. I don't know. But anyway, we were talking. I told her I came out here for Christian music. And I got to tell you, I looked the site. I was long hair, came from a West Coast shred band, heavy hard rock. We were doing contemporary Christian praise and worship, but we were doing in the style of POD. But it was kind of like Joe Satriani doing Matt Redman, if you want to know. And so we were but what she did, as sweet as she was, I had no idea who she was. I didn't know she was the head of ASCAP in Nashville, and this lady invites me to a Bible study on Tuesday afternoon at noon. And so I came and started going to the Bible study at ASCAP. And come to find out that Connie had been running ASCAP for about 30 years. And before she gave up the mantle just a couple years ago. Anyway, so this show is going to be for my friend Connie. And I've had a couple other songwriting friends that have passed away the past few weeks. So the next few weeks are going to be kind of tough for me because we're going to be dedicating these shows to them. Anyway, so this one's for Connie, and I'm going to open it up with a little Irish ballad that you've heard me play before. Yes, that was "Be Now My Vision." And basically, when I met Connie, um, she invited me to the Bible study. The pastor's name was Jean Ann. And we were probably, gosh, it was probably the second year that I had been going to that Bible study. And it was attended by a lot of people. I mean, it was pretty much female. There was a couple guys who went. There's a guy named David who was a retired attorney, real estate attorney. And there was a couple other guys who would drop in from now and then. David and me were about the only regular men, and then there was a bunch of women. And I tell you a really funny story. Probably get in trouble for doing this, but Ted Nugent told me one time, if you're not making waves, you're not paddling hard enough. So here we go. Anyway, but one of the people was Judy Harris, and Judy runs a publishing company on the row, and she had just had her first number one single. And so the pastor, Jean Ann, she's like, well, tell us the name of the song. We've been praying for you for years. I guess they had been praying for like 7 years that Judy would get a number one single. And she finally got a number one single with a gentleman by the name of Joe Nichols. And Judy kind of looks at it. She goes, well, the name of the song is Tequila Makes Her Clothes Fall Off. And everybody was just like, We've been praying for that song for 7 years. She's like, well, it's not that bad of a song, really. It turns out that it was written by another friend of mine, Gary Hannon. And Gary basically was never at the Bible study, if anybody's ever wondering. Gary is, he runs well, he used to run, I don't think he does it anymore, but it was a beer for breakfast on every Tuesday morning. So he wasn't making it to the Tuesday Bible study, but he used to do a music round on Lower Broadway, and it was called Beer for Breakfast. Just a funny story. Actually, I think it's kind of funny. So anyway, we're gonna do a song that I'm sure Connie loved because she loved gospel and she loved country music and she loved people. I mean, she was just, you could tell this girl was tough as nails, but she just had a heart that was as soft as a Cadbury egg. I mean, it was just, she was just as sweet as she could be. And I never saw the tough part. I never had to sit across the table from her in a negotiation, which is probably pretty good for me. But anyway, so anyway, this song's called "To God Be the Glory." Totally wrong beat. Totally wrong beat. I don't know what I'm thinking right now. All right, to God be the glory. Now, there's a couple other things that I was going to mention here, and I totally got sidetracked, and I apologize. I apologize. I apologize. Um, Open. I sat there this morning, and well, okay, let me back up just a little bit. I'm working for right now a job that I started doing last year when I got when COVID hit, and basically what happened was where is this here? What happened was I had gone out on gosh, why won't it open up? I don't know. Okay, so what happened was the Winter Jam tour had come through Nashville, and on the tour was Hillsong Worship, and I work with Hillsong out in Los Angeles. I'm one of the technical directors, or I was. I haven't been out there, of course, in a year. But I was one of the technical directors for Hillsong in Los Angeles and DTLA, downtown Los Angeles. And talked to a bunch of the guys who were part of the Hillsong Worship that were out with David Crowder and Red and a few other people in this group called Winter Jam. And so I talked to them and they said, hey, we're leaving the tour and we're taking some of the personnel. Maybe you can come on. So I went up and we went up to, where was it? It was Louisville. And we loaded in the show. We were dumping the truck. We were setting up for the first band for sound check. And we were all called into the break room. When we went in the break room, the promoter came in and said, yeah, Mayor's canceled the show because of the pandemic. And we're like, what pandemic? We didn't know anything about it. So, needless to say, they canceled the show. Well, they were on their way to Chicago for the next show when the tour got canceled. So we all came back to Nashville, and I rolled in with Kenny Chesney, who was preparing his rehearsals for his tour that was going to be launching later on in the summer. So we went down. Wow, that's a big old bug on my screen. But anyway, so we went down to the rehearsals for Kenny, and we dumped 6 trucks, and we set up his stage and got everything running, did sound check, lights checks, stuff like that. Full day, great, 10, 12, 14, 16 hour day, whatever it was. And so the next day we came back on Friday because he was doing a video shoot. So we did the video shoot. Came back on Saturday morning, at 10 a.m. To start work again and to, tweak and make things better, which you can always do. Um, and so during that time, we found out that the tour got canceled. Probably start up again in summertime, So we were just, just pack up the 6 trucks, and they were just going to go off and sit and hold off until we could start rehearsal again until the tour started. And of course, that was a year and a half ago, and tour's not even on the radar yet. I mean, they're saying now it'll be fall of 2022, which I probably shouldn't have said. But anyway, so take scratch that. I we don't know when the tour is happening. Needless to say, yeah, I went to work for the richest man in the United States, um, and worked 2 to 3 shifts, 6 days a week, up in Nashville, and then until there was an opening down at the facility in Murfreesboro, and I've been down there. Now I've actually been there for 9 months, and this is almost the longest I've ever had a job, and it's it's difficult because I'm working 60 hours a week. I work going in at 5:30 in the morning and I leave at 6:30 at night. Well, I meet my girlfriend at 6:30 at night for dinner, so I leave right before 6. But I get, it's basically 5:30 to 6:30, 6 days a week. And so very little time to get anything done, any rehearsals, any setup, any anything. Good news is our first show for night music is happening on June 5th. I got 2 of them in June 5th, one up in the city called Lebanon, and then another one that afternoon up in a city called Red Boiling Springs. And then I go back to Lebanon and I set up to do the underground music show for that night. So I might either tape it as a live show during one of the shows during the day, or I say tape it, I'll record it and stream it later on that night. Or I might just go ahead and do a live show. Haven't figured it out yet. I got, well, 3, 4, 5 weeks before that comes to pass. So, anyway, I did want to let you know that this is a safe place, that there's no swearing or trolling. And if you like what you're hearing, if you're a member, if you're part of the tribe that comes and watches every single week, if you're popping on, please remember to hit that subscribe button, whether you're on Twitch or you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube. They all have a subscribe button. So please like and subscribe. Support what you're doing with the tip code. If you look over here, I have that little tip code that is sitting right over here, I believe. And you can send me a buck or two, or just go to my email, which is guitarforjesus@musician.org, and you can actually send me an email and let me know that you support what I'm doing. I really appreciate all the support that I'm getting. Daniel in Puerto Rico, and Mason in Savannah, Georgia, and Charles, who's out in Los Angeles. And thank you guys, and Paula, that's here in Tennessee. You guys, I love the support that I'm getting, and the comments are so good. Thank you so much. Anyway, you can go to Night Music for show times, for links, for garments, for lyrics, for contact email, for live show information, and how to support me monthly for just about the price of a cup of coffee. And that would be really good because I'm about ready to step away from my life support. Charles used to work at NASA, and he understands what I'm talking about there, because I'm about ready to leave the richest man in the United States. And uh, so it's kind of a kind of I wouldn't say fearful or trepidatious. It's just, let's just hope it's the right thing. But then, Jeff Bezos, in an interview that I just heard this week, said that he has spent billions of dollars in failures. And even though I'm not even close to that, he is. And so, anyway, so that's all I'm going for now. It looks like I have a couple people watching. I got some comments here. What do we got going on? Oh my gosh, Paula is watching and she says the lighting is awesome. I got to tell you, I kind of did it for her. She's all about the color. And so I got to tell you, I kind of did it all for her. So let's do another we're going to do another little softer one. No, wait, no. Okay, can you see? My mind is just um, all not focused. There's a marching band that's going off right across the hill over here, and I hear this drum chorus going, and so it's really hard to think of the beat while I have this. Oh, I got it. Yes. So I'm kind of all over the place tonight. Getting ready to leave my job. I'm getting ready to venture out and do music full time again in my life. I've been doing this since I was a child. I don't know how many of you guys remember this story, but um, I started playing guitar about when I was 9 years old. When I was 13, I was with a group of nuns at the church that I went to. We would go around to soup kitchens and orphanages and old folks' homes, and we would play music for these people all the time. And we were asked to actually play a mass. And then we found out later it was actually the first guitar mass ever authorized by the Catholic Church. And we played that in Normandy, Missouri, and it was full of people with funny hats on. I mean, we had cardinals and bishops and monsignors, and I mean, it was pretty amazing. We played one show in the morning for the school, and then we did a private performance that afternoon for the parents. Um, but when we played for the parents, all of a sudden, my guitar wouldn't stay in tune. It was really, like hard to tune as we were playing, but it wouldn't stay in. And funny story is my seventh grade teacher, I won't say her name, but anyway, so she came up and she just started berating me right in front of everybody. We had three other nuns up there. We had the entire, it seemed like the entire, it was a room full of parents and kids, who came to watch it and the special performance. And she just went off about how God didn't want guitars in the church, how we were an embarrassment to our church or embarrassment to our school, to our family, to our God, and that, he wasn't going to have anything to it. And the reason, it was, that I wasn't good enough to do this. So, like any, 13-year-old seventh grader who had just been absolutely shamed in front of everybody that he knew, the entire world at that time, I dropped my guitar and I ran out and, well, the school, you ran out and you ran through this parking lot, then you ran through this other parking lot where there was a playground, then another playground, then there was the soccer fields and baseball fields. On the other side of the soccer and baseball fields was a cemetery. And the cemetery had a big giant crucifix, like an 8-foot crucifix. And so I went out there and just threw myself on the ground, just like, God, I mean, I'm total failure. I'm the worst thing that ever lived. I don't know how you can allow me to be here. I mean, why did you even let me be born? And I was up there for a while. It was a while because I mean, nobody knew where I went. I mean, I just ran and skedaddled. But about, I would say 30, 45 minutes later, one of the sisters came and found me. And she said, look, they looked at my guitar, and it seemed like somebody had stepped right here on the neck and had broken the bridge. And that's why it wouldn't stay in tune. And she said I had no reason to whatsoever, but if I wanted to, I could come back and I could, play the mass that night using one of their guitars or her guitar, or. And so that's kind of what I did. I gutted it up and I came back and I played for that mass, and have the honor of being the only non-nun who actually played at that guitar mass. Now, funny story again is you've jumped forward, oh, probably 30 years, and I was driving through a city in California and I saw a sign that said Evangelical Catholic Church, and I thought, well, there's a contradiction in terms. And so I thought, well, let's go check this out because they said they had a guitar mass that night. So I pulled in and I went to it, and it was beautiful. It was really great. Um, but the funny thing was, afterwards I went up and I said, it's really funny that you have, three females and three guitars and a man, and you have, two girls playing and the one guy playing, and one of the women, she looks, she goes, oh, well, that's the tradition in the church. That's how we do our guitar masses. And I thought it was so funny that whoever it was who broke my guitar neck, because we were breaking the traditions of the church, themselves started a new tradition in the church. And so you have three women and three guitars, and one and a man, and the man's playing one of the three guitars. So I just thought that was really interesting because they're the tradition. I was the original man, so that's kind of funny. Anyway, so enough of that story. Let's do something. Let's do Holy, 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 because that's probably one of the songs that we played. And if not, it should have been. Yes, that was called Angus Day. It was that means Lamb of God in Latin. So um, I think that's about it. We've been here for 30 minutes now since when I first started this up. So going to run a couple of credits and just want to thank you all for tuning in. Once again, if you haven't yet, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, depending on which channel you're watching it on. I know that both Twitch and YouTube have subscribe and Facebook has a like. And so please, like. If you want to hear something special, go to Guitar for Jesus. Yeah, there it is, like me right there. It's like, whoa, I'm watching it right now. Actually, you're watching it. There's like a 22-second delay. So, needless to say, I don't know if my fingers lined up with the way the words went. But anyway, you can find the lyrics. You can send me an email. You can go to nightmusic.com. Let's go over here and run that before I live out of here. Let's go over here to there and just go to right here. Just so that you know that you can go to nightmusic.com. There you go. I'll go back over here and we'll run some end credits. And thank you so much. Um, like I said, I've said this before, and it needs to be in my bullet notes too. If you got any prayer requests, please send them to us. And I don't know when you're watching this. The nice thing about YouTube is this is going to be on there for a while. YouTube's been, going for a while. It's outlasted MySpace. It's going to go for a while. So, and as long as it's going on, these are going to be here. So if anybody knows of a company that wants to sponsor something, right now, I know there's only a few of you who are watching. I think our biggest show so far has been like 7 people, 7 eyeballs. But as more and more people tune in and start watching and following, because I'm not going anywhere, I'm just going to keep doing this thing, and we're just going to get better and better and gooder and gooder, and it's going to grow. It's going to grow. So anyway, if you know anybody who wants to sponsor, anything that you sponsor will be here forever. And so or as long as I have YouTube. So anyway, God bless you. Thank you for watching, and we hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week. And I'll see you next Friday or Saturday and Saturday at 8 o'clock on your favorite streaming channel. Thank you very much.